Welcome back. You've got through the first process of securing a job. Now you're at the nerve-wracking interview stage. Here with some advice on how to nail the interview and secure that perfect job is Tom O'Neill. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be back.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people sitting out there, and I know they get quite nervous before a job interview, and I guess understanding they should feel that way too.
Absolutely. One thing I always find frustrating is when people are nervous and people give them that advice. Oh, don't worry. It is when you go to an interview, you're being judged. You know, you're being judged for your suitability. You know, it's like going on a date. You know, there should be a little bit of nervousness. That's okay. It's just when we let that take over, we let the butterflies rule ourselves, and then that's when we really get into trouble. So generally speaking, being a bit nervous is okay.
Right. You talk about home field advantage, or home court advantage, I'd say, as a basketballer. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, the Times in England did a study recently, and they looked at home games, home field advantage, and found that football teams scored 37% more at home than they did away, which was fascinating. And it's because they've got that home crowd screaming, go Liverpool, or, you know, whatever. And little things, they know where the toilets are, you know, just little things and big things. And it just helps them focus on the game. And so what I talk about with home field advantage with interviewing is, you know, doing your research on the company. Right. Doing your research on what sort of questions probably will be asked and just writing some answers. Contacting verbal referees, etc. That way you effectively get a home field advantage that may improve your interview ability by 10–20%.
Would you role play? Would you role play some of those questions, maybe with a partner or with a friend, to prepare yourself for that job interview?
Absolutely. That's where you can actually get a lot of benefit, especially from maybe a friend or a family member that isn't so... that will give you honest and fair feedback. You know, if I did it with my mum, she'd be, oh, that was wonderful, darling. Of course you would.
Of course you would. You're amazing.
But you know, with other people, you know, with other family and friends, you know, they'd just give, hey, look, I really appreciated that, but have you thought about da-da-da?
Tom, you talk about finding out information about the employer, the job you're applying for. How much information is too much information?
If you're really starting to feel like your brain is full, I'd suggest too much information. I think it's relevant in the role that you're going for. If you're applying for a customer services position, let's say, you know, you want to spend a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes looking at their website. If you're applying for a role of CEO, well, you may want to go through the some old AGM papers and just do a bit more international knowledge and do some searches internationally. But there is a point where suddenly you feel like, oh my goodness, you know, how am I going to retain all this? If you're feeling that, you're not going to retain it all. So it's about just opening your mind and trying to get as much information as you can in without overcompensating. Okay,
you've got the odd job interview, you're wondering what you should wear. What attire should you wear to a job interview?
What I tend to suggest is dress one step up on what they would normally wear. So, for example, if you're going for let's say an IT role and they sort of wear polo shirts and slacks, you know, you'd maybe wear a nice business shirt but no tie. If you're going to a company that has, you know, no tie, you'd maybe go in just with the tie, obviously in suit, because the last thing you want to do is turn up and be one level below. Because all that does straight away is totally put you on the back foot. Everyone's there in suits and ties and you're there in a singlet and jandals. You're not going to be on your game.
I'm a big one for timeliness and being at an interview early, or, you know, at least 20 minutes before the interview. What's appropriate?
Yep, you really want to walk in probably 5 minutes before the actual interview time, but whatever you do, get there before that 5 minutes. What happens is a lot of people think, well, I've got an hour to get to the city, so I'll leave now, that's given me an hour, and then suddenly they get stuck in a traffic jam, and then suddenly the heart rate goes up, you know, and then they start to worry, and oh my goodness. Now, they may even beat the traffic jam and get there on time, but now their heart rate is elevated, they've been sweating, and they're not on their game. So if you left an hour and a half early, you've got half an hour there to go through your notes again, to have a coffee, and just relax, maybe go for a walk, whatever, and just really get in the zone.
I guess also, if by doing that, if you get there early, you're a lot more relaxed, like you say, heading into the interview, and you're not so uptight, and that's, I guess, a way to prepare yourself so that you're on the front foot rather than the back foot.
Oh, totally. And time and time again, I've interviewed people, and you can see, you got to shake their hand. It's like, great.
Right.
And they're just nervous and sweating, and it's just all go. But yeah, it's prepare, and you'll be okay.
Tom, some great advice there. I'm sure a lot of our viewers out there will enjoy that. And it is a tough time going for a job interview, but if you prepare yourself, as you say, it makes things a lot easier as part of the interview process. Thanks for that, mate.
A real pleasure. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. And for more on Tom and job interviews, head to our website.